I was running yesterday night, just to burn some steam. I like to go to the nearby park at night. I run around it. It's usually empty at the time I go. But this time, there was a man. He looked homeless and maybe on drugs. He was about 30 feet away. He was jumping up and down, hitting his face. I thought it would be best to avoid him, so I crossed the street. I went to the other side, and when I did, he stopped jumping and turned his face towards me. I wasn't running anymore. I was walking, being cautious. I didn't have my gun on me. I had nothing. I didn't feel safe. The man crossed the street, and he walked so fast it felt like he took 3 big steps, and suddenly, he was on my side of the sidewalk, only a few feet away. He stood there and looked at me. His eyes were wide, and I never saw him blink. Then his mouth curved up into a large grin. It freaked me out. I didn't care about being conspicuous anymore. I ran across the street back to the other sidewalk, always keeping my eyes towards him, and then the man did exactly the same thing I did. He ran across the street. He was in front of me again, still smiling his big grin. I yelled at him, asked him what he wanted. I said I was a detective and I had a gun on me. I bluffed and reached my hand to my back, like if I was reaching for a gun. Still, he didn't move, didn't flinch. I kept my hand to my back and told him if he moved, I would shoot him. He stood still, smiling. I walked backwards away from him. After about 10 steps, he started walking towards me, and I screamed, "Stop!" He didn't stop. He walked faster. His hands were at his side the whole time. He wasn't stopping, and I didn't have anything to protect myself, so I ran, pumping my legs as fast as they would go. He was big. I knew it would be hard to go against him if I were to try to fight him. I ran, and I thought I would hear his footsteps behind me, chasing me. But I didn't hear anything. I had only been running for a few seconds when I stopped and turned around. There was no one behind me. Where the man was, there was nothing anymore. He was gone, like if he had turned into steam and blew away into the night air. It was odd. There wasn't anywhere he could hide. The street was empty, as were the 2 sidewalks. The park next to me was an open field. There was no one. It was quiet again. I just went home after that. I'm not sure if I'm ever going back there. If I do, I'm certainly bringing my gun with me. I know this doesn't have anything to do with the cases. I just wanted to document this for my reference. I'm not even planning on releasing this record to Carol. Forgotten Creatures, a weekly horror podcast by Dark Nymph Productions, available on all podcast providers. For more information, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Forgotten Creatures Podcast. Rate and subscribe to the podcast as this helps us grow. If you enjoyed this podcast, let us know and tell your friends.